rappers, they're all so tough until you hear their real name.
Yeah, well, until you see them at a puffy party.
Oh,
Then they're not tough no more. I'm surprised that the rap game is still alive after, because the masculinity that the rappers are supposed to portray, perform on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And Petey Pablo, you remember Petey Pablo?
I know who that is.
Petey Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho Is Home. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for Petey Pablo, he's not around anymore. Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at it. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. He's sitting there, just looking at it, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to get
the meat locked up for 6 years.
All right, guys. Today we're diving into a conversation that immediately grabs attention. The discussion opens with bold claims about the music industry, focusing on stories surrounding Diddy, exclusive parties, and the pressure some artists allegedly faced behind closed doors. The speakers also bring up Petey Pablo, suggesting his career changed after speaking out, before shifting to Terrence Howard's account of being invited to spend time with Diddy. Throughout this opening, the interview presents these stories as personal experiences and opinions, setting the stage for a deeper look into controversial claims that have fueled debate for years. This is just the beginning, and the conversation only becomes more intense from here.
I was a millionaire. And that was the craziest thing in the world. Like, I sat on the corner. The day we signed the deal, me and my partner Fab, I remember we had like $7 and like almost $8. And we bought us 240s of Old English 800. 2 egg rolls from a little Chinese spot, and it was raining. And we sat outside and we cried like motherfuckers, like babies, bro. I done it. Like it was hard at times. Again, I wanted to quit. I was already 20 something years old and I'm sleeping on somebody's couch. I'm staying in New York. I'm the only thing, because I've never been a slouch. So the only thing that I know that I can do for the people that I'm staying with is make sure that they house clean and make sure that they dishes washed and, make sure if they needed something from the store, I would run to the store for them. But I was that dude before I went to prison. I was that, my money was straight. I was a big dog before I went. And so here I am now washing people's dishes and, sweeping their house up. And it was hard for a dude that was on a certain level in life, as a street guy, to have to humble himself to just survive. Because I refused. Sure, I had people in New York that wanted to hand me something. Hey, man, come on, man. We know who you are. Hey, man, we know your brother. We know that. Hey, man, we remember you from back. Hey, man, here, take this and get yourself. I'm not doing that. Because if I do something wrong, then all of this would have been for nothing. I came home from doing 6 years and left everything and everyone that I knew and I loved to go to a place in pursuit of my dream. I was determined to make this dream happen. And I can't get up here and do something stupid and mess around and get myself caught up in something. I'm already in New York. And, anything can happen in New York. A lot of people went up there and they never.
After the explosive opening, the focus shifts away from controversy and into Petey Pablo's personal journey. The conversation explores how his life changed after serving time in prison, forcing him to start over with almost nothing while refusing to return to the streets. Despite sleeping on couches, doing household chores for the people helping him, and struggling financially, he remained committed to chasing his dream through music. This part highlights the resilience, humility, and determination that eventually transformed one of the lowest points in his life into the foundation of his future success.
Never come back.
Petey Pablo. Petey Pablo is about to sign with Death Row. You feel me? And that in the boat, and he said something. He put Suge's name in it, and Suge just walked through the door. It's like 30 his Bloods and Crips. You could tell he was hating. And the tension was in that. I ain't with none of that Blood Crip, but I say Blood and Cuz in the same sentence, nigga. I'm a real nigga. I'm an East Oakland nigga, so I can do that. Other can't. So the whole point is, you know, I ain't gonna disrespect you. If you're a Crip, I ain't gonna keep blooding you. If you're a Blood, I ain't gonna cut you. That just ain't how I get down. You know, I'm gonna do the respect, right? But all my real though, you feel me? Most of them, that was real hitters. You feel me? At the same time, Petey put the name, Suge's name in the song. And hey, cut the music. That went into the booth and closed the curtain. Right? What's going on? About 3 minutes later, the curtain over. Session over. Give me session over. We just got here. Session was over. I don't know what that said to that, but I guess he didn't want that nigga to say his name in the song. Period. Cut that whole session over. I ain't heard from Petey Pablo since.
The conversation now moves into one of the most dramatic stories in the interview, as Petey Pablo recalls a tense recording session connected to Death Row Records. According to the speakers, a song mentioning Suge Knight took an unexpected turn when Suge arrived at the studio, creating an atmosphere filled with pressure and uncertainty. They describe how the session abruptly ended after a private conversation, leaving everyone wondering what had happened behind closed doors. The story is presented as an example of how quickly situations could change in the music industry and how influential figures could shape the direction of an artist's career.
Today, when you say North Carolina, everybody want to raise up. It's like, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling, and I'm still humbled because I'm such a hometown country boy that I don't feel, there's nothing bigger than the group, and Carolina is the group. So I don't feel like what everybody looks at me as, but it's just an amazing feeling.
Did you ever imagine it would be as big as it's gotten?
Never. All I wanted, and I was just inducted into the Carolina Music Hall of Fame. Right. So in my speech, I said, only thing I wanted was for a state that never had the recognition to be recognized. Because my label was like, Petey, we can't put this song out because don't nobody know what North Carolina is. And I'm like, well, this is all I'm giving you right now. So you got to work with what you got. So they was like, well, at least go back and put all the cities' names in there. So I'm like, okay, but this one was the one.
2 years later, in 2004, Petey dropped his sophomore album, Still Writing in My Diary, Second Entry, which featured his biggest
young people. That is gonna come up. I bought Petey Pablo's Diary of a Sinner. Petey Pablo, I love him. My kids, Dad, who is this country dude? He's a rapper. North Carolina, raise up, put your shirt off, twist it around your head like a helicopter. That's my cut, man. I actually took my shirt off. I've been caught up in this dog. Then he got Diary of a Sinner. I love the song about when he was down to he thought he was dead broke. I had scraping up change in the ashtray, 2 cigarettes. He didn't know how he was gonna make it. That song, I listen to that to this day before I go to work, because it reminds me. Because it ain't always been this way. You know, you can't get this life. First of all, it's a blessing. This is grace and favor, you know. This ain't, your life ain't really supposed to be like this. I ain't really done nothing to deserve this. This is grace. This God just gave me a lot of grace, man. I really, on the real, I take no credit for where I am today. You know, I work hard, I'm funny, but this life I got,
The interview then shifts to a more uplifting chapter, highlighting Petey Pablo's breakthrough success with Raise Up and the impact it had on his home state of North Carolina. He reflects on never expecting the song to become such a cultural anthem and explains that his biggest goal was simply to put his state on the map. The discussion also touches on his induction into the Carolina Music Hall of Fame, along with heartfelt reflections about gratitude, faith, and remembering the struggles that came long before fame arrived.
Because they accused him of fondling or touching someone at a bar.
Oh, yeah.
At a bar, and then they accused him of touching some dude.
It sounded like
Puffy's thing. I was like, dude,
I mean,
that's not Cuba. He wouldn't. I can't imagine
Really?
Cuba touching some man. No,
A man?
A man. Yeah.
what is it with all the man-on-man action that I'm learning about? I mean, like with the Puffy parties, like the last thing I ever thought that went on there was gay stuff. Not that gay stuff
Yeah,
was wrong, it's wonderful. I just did not think that's what Puffy was doing.
Yeah. Well, I didn't think it either. And even when my assistant said that stuff, I still was like joking it off. And it wasn't until later on that I heard other things from people that worked from him. You know, you remember that back in the times of slavery, they had a thing called breaking the buck, where they would take, not to go in a bad place, but this is how I see what's happening, the parallels with what's happening correlates what's happening in the business. If they, back in the times of slavery, if they had like some 12-year-old slave that was just full of himself and confident and, wasn't listening, they would tie him to a log or a barrel, and a bunch of the overseers would them, to where when he walked around with the slaves now, he didn't have the confidence.
Sure.
He was broken, and it was called breaking the buck.
Wow.
And that's still taking place. And so to hear that people in the industry are still making young rappers who have fought the worst of circumstances, being disenfranchised, being discounted, and then they finally like, I'm gonna put it into music. I'm gonna do it in the music. I'm gonna, and get myself together. And they go and see someone, and they tell them, okay, yeah, you can have a deal. Perform on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And Petey Pablo, you remember Petey Pablo?
I know who that is.
Petey Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho His Own. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for Petey Pablo, he's not around anymore. But that song, Ho Its Own, they did not care. They went.
Whole story within itself. Anyway, because the reason that
The discussion returns to controversy as Terrence Howard shares his perspective on long-standing rumors surrounding Diddy and the music industry. According to Howard, he later heard stories from people connected to the business that reinforced earlier concerns he had dismissed at first. He also draws historical comparisons while expressing his personal views on how some aspiring artists were allegedly treated behind the scenes. The speakers further claimed that Petey Pablo's career suffered after releasing music they believe referenced these issues, presenting this as part of a much larger debate within the industry.
I got that role on Empire was, like Cherry said, I'm just that guy. I just so happened to run into Terrence Howard in the Four Seasons Hotel, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? That's Terrence, the Hustle and Flow. Oh, man, what's up? He's like, man, I listen to all your stuff. He was like, even when I was on Hustle and Flow, he was like, I listen to your music. He said, I was trying to act like Petey Pablo, and that's crazy to me.
You did.
So I said, hey, man, we all going out. What's up? You want to come out? And he was like, nah, man, I'm going through a little something right now, man. I lost my wallet, lost my credit cards and everything, so I'm just going up to my room, man. So I was like, damn, you lost. So I reached in my pocket and pulled out 200. He was like, here. Take it. He was like, yeah. He was like, I was like, no, man, you just don't be walking around with nothing in your pocket. Like, here. And I gave him the money and I walked off. So fast forward, 13 years later, I get a phone call. And this was a couple years ago. He was like, is this Petey? I was like, yeah. He was like, first of all, I need you to see. He's like, this is Terrence Howard. I was like, damn, what's up, bro? I ain't heard from you, yeah. Last time, he was like, yeah, last time I seen you, yeah, something happened between us, and I need you to send me your address because I owe you some money. And I was like, nah, bro, you don't owe me no money. He was like, bro, send me your address or I'm gonna hang the phone up and you'll never hear from me again. So I'm like, okay. So I give him my phone, my address. 2 days later, I get a check for $15,000.
Dang, what a great investment.
Crazy, right? Crazy. So I called him back and I was like, bro, he was like, listen, you do not realize that at that time, I didn't lose my wallet. He was like, I just said that because I was so embarrassed that I was going through what I was going through in life. And he was like, effortlessly, you just reached in your pocket and handed me money and didn't really even know me. You knew me from watching me on TV. You know, we had never had a conversation or anything. And he was like, and people that I've known for years had denied me at that point in time in his life. And he was like, and he was really in a bad place. He was like, for me to reach in my pocket and effortlessly just do an act of kindness that way, he was like, it changed his thought about life. And I was like, man, that's really crazy. He was like, now we got that out of the way. Now I need you to help me on this empire situation.
The tone changes once again as the conversation focuses on an unexpected act of kindness that eventually came full circle. P.D. Pablo recalls meeting Terrence Howard years earlier and quietly offering him money during what Howard later admitted was a difficult period in his life. More than a decade later, Howard unexpectedly reached out, repaid the gesture many times over, and explained how that simple act had changed his outlook. According to the interview, that reunion eventually opened the door for P.D. Pablo's appearance on Empire, turning a small moment of generosity into a life-changing opportunity.
P.D., what's next for you? We saw you on the set of Empire, saw you doing your thing on Empire. Are you going back to the set, but you said you got to go to L.A. first, actually?
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I'm still writing music for the show. Mm-hmm. And Terrence is my brother, you know, and that's another thing. Again, I don't want to speak too much about it because, you know, when I get uneasy feelings about certain situations, you know, sometimes my mouth will put me in situations where I'll be walking around looking like I have lost everything in the world. Like, what did I just say? Mm-hmm. I did not just say that publicly, but I will, you know, and really don't mind it. But I mean, I understand that there are dire consequences behind some of the things that I say. But Terrence Howard is my brother, and there's nothing that man cannot ask me to do besides some of that stuff they do on TV. No, but that's my brother, man. And you know, whatever I can do to help him and the show, man, I mean, I'm always there, and you know.
That connection landed Pablo a small role on Empire, where he played an inmate alongside Howard.
Pablo, let me just say something right quick. Hip hop, anybody who got a respect for hip hop, you listen to your right now. Suge, y'all gotta respect what Suge done did for the game, okay? Regardless of the negativity that the media has portrayed, that man is hip-hop history. You understand what I'm saying? That man is hip-hop history. With owning precedent, that man was in the media without negativity. Y'all was all on his. Then as soon as the white man or whoever come in and try to say what the man that did wrong, who he was involved with, I want to let him go. Stop doing that to people in the industry. Judge them off your own merit. Don't let no other rapper say something about one rapper and you take from that one. You understand what I'm saying? Stick with it. Be a true fan. Don't be no whole fan. You know what I'm saying? Yes. If you dedicated, be dedicated. If not, we don't need you because you're going to eat anyway. Anyway. You understand what I'm saying? It's new in the system. Where you at, Remy? Where you at, Jay? Where you at, Jay? It's new in the system. Ain't nobody just trying to shake their in the videos no more. We about to get money. It's about network and communication. You understand what?
The conversation continues with P.D. Pablo reflecting on his relationship with Terrence Howard and the opportunities that followed after joining Empire. He explains why he tries to be careful when discussing certain industry topics, suggesting that public statements can sometimes carry unexpected consequences. The discussion then shifts as he shares his views on Suge Knight, encouraging fans to judge influential figures based on their own opinions rather than headlines or rumors. Throughout this segment, he emphasizes loyalty, respect, and standing by the people who supported him.
I'm watching P.D. Pablo in his car, and my brother, Big Spider, in his passenger seat doing this. And P.D. Pablo let me unscrew his earring. Rest in peace, Del Dog from Main Street. If it wasn't for Del Dog pulling up, not demanding, but
really politicking, pleading, begging my brother, because he had interest with Petey Pablo that he needed Petey Pablo to feel like, I'm safe with you, I was here with you. So Del Dog really pleaded to my brother to give him that pass, which was a very hard pass for my brother to get. But I just seen Petey Pablo sit there and allow a nigga to screw his earrings out and didn't do nothing.
Damn.
Am I lying, Petey Pablo?
Man, Suge just pretended like he wasn't around or didn't, because wasn't Petey Pablo actually signed to Death Row at one point or was gonna sign?
This is the thing. With Suge, it had nothing to do with Petey Pablo. It had everything to do with when he got with us. My brother, M.O., his whole interest, his approach was to ask Suge permission. Is it okay for me to get down like that around here while we moving around? And just before it was even a Petey Pablo to think about, and my brother getting that Suge like that, when nobody in particular was the person we're talking about, Suge kind of gave him the green light and let him know, I know how you get down, and when we moving, that's in the game too. You know, just don't be messy, cross nobody up, implicate nothing. Suge ain't robbing nobody, he ain't got nothing to do with it, but he was trying to let my brother know, I know how you get down, and when shit go down, if it go down, don't feel like I think you offending me or, backdoing. Green light, just keep it clean as far as don't have me crossed up. That was just the understanding. And Petey Pablo just somebody else, so that was just the understanding. Suge wasn't gonna let Petey Pablo feel like, oh, you watch me get robbed. Nah. Suge still gonna have a position with Petey Pablo like I'm at least try to see what I can do. And Suge was cool enough to where he might negotiate a few coins about a Petey Pablo on our behalf for him to get them earrings back. It was that type of understanding. You feel me? So I'm just letting you know it's nothing new for that type of be going down. Petey Pablo, yeah, he was sitting there real comfortable, calm, letting him do his ear.
Pop interview, I kind of broke it down, and Math was trying to get me to say the names and really say names. I'm like, I ain't gotta do that because I don't want to f brothers' lives up like that. Yeah. But
attention then turns to another memorable story involving Petey Pablo, Suge Knight, and an incident surrounding a pair of earrings. The speakers described the tense situation from their own perspectives, explaining how different people involved handled the moment and why they believe it reflected the realities of the music business at the time. Rather than portraying the event as simple confrontation, they present it as an example of the complicated relationships, street politics, and unwritten rules that often existed behind the scenes.
I'll say this, the music business is ran by the devil. So the music business is only designed to get as many people to go away from God as possible. So what happens is the devil needs workers, and by workers, he needs people who have influence, who can mislead or misguide people away from the light into the darkness.
So I was that kid out there, and they were great friends. They embraced me, man. And my whole crowd was always black. I never thought I'd ever play for white people until my music went #1. And when it went #1, all of a sudden my crowds I went from smaller crowds to huge stadiums. In rap music, it just hadn't been done like that before. So for me,
when we were on our way to court, I knew that they were setting Shine up to take the fall. When Shine decided to get his own lawyers, I knew that they was gonna set Shine up to take the fall. These guys in the industry wanna act like that they didn't know that Puff helped send Shine.
Right, so pretty much the whole time you was in prison, he didn't reach out to you?
Yeah, Yeah, man. Shout out to him too, man.
Yeah, I mean, he going through a lot right now. How you feel about everything Diddy going through right now?
As the interview approaches its final stretch, the discussion broadens beyond individual artists and focuses on the music industry itself. One speaker shares personal beliefs about how influence, fame, and success can shape people's choices, while another recalls events surrounding Shine and the legal aftermath involving Diddy. These viewpoints are presented as opinions and personal interpretations, adding another layer to the ongoing conversation about power, responsibility, and the lasting impact of major industry figures.
Like his houses getting ready for trafficking. How you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I feel like, whatever's going on, he's gonna handle it. However, whatever happens, whatever transpires, you know what I mean? I mean, like I said, man, I don't know what happened. I don't even know what's going on. You know where I was at. You know what I mean? So, you know, I hope the brother get around it, man. You know what I mean? Whatever's going on.
You know, the easy person to blame is Diddy because everybody blame him for stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's dope, man. For you to be like, yo, I did this or I did that, you know.
Oh, I mean, yeah, man. I mean, it's real, man. I mean, you know, you can't run around. I don't know, man. I don't really subscribe to that though. You know what I mean? Like you can't. You gotta look at what's really going on. You know, a lot of times, you know, I don't know if that's something that I developed, and you know, I don't know when that developed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the truth is, you know, the truth is just important. Like, you know what I mean? At some point in my life, I realized that, you know, truth is just, you know, genuineness is important, and that kind of, you know, trickles out into, you know, anything you really can do. Like, you know, be truthful. Why do you think you got dropped? You know what I'm saying? It's all about truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why do you think? Come on, honestly. You know what I mean? Don't fool yourself. You're only lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like, you know what I mean?
The final moments bring the conversation back to Diddy's current legal situation, with P.D. Pablo choosing a measured response instead of making direct accusations. He explains that he doesn't claim to know every detail and believes the truth should ultimately come to light through facts rather than speculation. Ending on a reflective note, he stresses the importance of honesty, authenticity, and staying true to oneself despite public opinion. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more in-depth content, and we'll see you in the next video.